3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Francesca
You're
Armenti, and you're in the kitchen with Chef EF. As you can tell, camera guy has been taking some production classes, and not quite sure
You'll be
what
able to
that
tell.
was.
You'll be able to tell. This time you'll be able to tell. It's going to be much better quality. And I won't interrupt this near as much.
Okay. All right. So then.
I got reprimanded for that.
That's correct. So, hello and welcome again. Today's segment is going to be desserts. Now, I know...
Awesome.
I know you think that you're not supposed to eat dessert or you shouldn't eat dessert.
Past 6 o'clock.
But that is not necessarily the case, okay? It's not eating sugar now and again that's going to make your, if you know what I'm saying. It's the consistency of good, healthy eating and habitual way of living, exercising, moving, eating clean food, class 1 food. That is what's going to make the difference. So when you do imbibe in a little bit of dessert, it's not that big of a deal, all right? So the dessert that I'm going to make today happens to be Camera Guy's favorite dessert, so I told him I'd make it. And in my family, we call it pezzo dolce, and that basically means a piece of sweet. It's an Italian-style ricotta cheese cake, and you can make a few different variations on it. I've made this one a little bit less fat and less sugar, and I take the crust out. That way we don't even have to deal with the crust or the fat in the crust. We basically just have the filling, and I bake it into a Pyrex dish, you would call it, or a baking dish of some kind, or you can use a cake pan, whatever. But let me show you how to make the batter real quick. First, I'd like to tell to you about the cheese itself. Now, brands vary in texture and actually water. My favorite brand happens to be the Polly-O. I found it on the West Coast, I found it on the East Coast, and I'm certainly sure you can find this in the middle of the country as well. This would be my very first choice for a product. I like the creaminess of the cheese.
Creamy. Very creamy.
And it makes the cake very fluffy and very light, and the body is actually very dense while it's got a lightness to it, if that makes sense. Okay? Anyways, this recipe calls for 4 pounds of ricotta cheese, or ricotta cheese, depending on what part of the country you're from. Here in the country, they just call it ricotta cheese. So this is 2 pounds. I've already got 2 pounds in my mixer. And as I said, you can use the brand that's available to you, but the Polly-O is my first choice. If you can find a little Italian market or an Italian deli, they might have an imported cheese or something from New York or New Jersey, and usually those cheeses are very, very nice and fresh as well. We used to buy this in baskets, and in Italy they actually eat the cheese not only warm, but sometimes they just sprinkle cheese, a little bit of sugar over the top, and eat the warm cheese, and it's awesome. But the freshness is the tricky part there. So now I've got my 4 pounds of cheese. I used about 3/4 of a cup of sugar. And I'm going to start mixing that together. Now you'll remember before, if you happen to watch the muffins, that I used the paddle rather than the whisk, but because I want to incorporate a lot of air into this so that my batter is very light and fluffy, I'm going to use the whisk attachment and get that started. So again, I'm just going to mix that up very, very quickly. And then I'm going to add the eggs. Now, if you remember, I told you before, when you add the eggs, be sure that you crack the eggs outside of your actual batter so that in case something's in it...
A live chicken.
It'll more than likely be a dead chick, but it's
good.
happened. So be sure that you crack your eggs outside of the batter itself. That way you just have to scoop them out. So I've cracked my 5 eggs into this measuring cup, and I'm just going to add the eggs one at a time. As I add the eggs, I let the yolk break, let it mix up. Go back down to low again, add another egg. This way you're sure that the eggs are incorporated into the cheese thoroughly and evenly so that you don't get parts of the cake where it goes like this in the pan.
Wow.
So just very quickly, I'm going to beat our eggs.
I have a question.
Yes, camera guy.
How do you know all this?
born that way. I was born that way.
Unbelievable.
All right.
Hey, who would have known one egg at a time?
Now
How would you know that?
I've done my 5 eggs, one egg
You know
at
what?
a time.
You should record this so other people can see how you do this.
No, camera guy, that's what we're doing. That's why you're here, remember?
Oh, right.
So now I just wipe down the sides, and then I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. I add a little splash of vanilla extract. I add a little tiny bit, which would be about a teaspoon of the vanilla, maybe 2 teaspoons.
That's called a trained eye right there.
About a teaspoon of nutmeg. And now this is going to be my fruit zest. Now, traditionally in my family, they always use lemon, but I like to use the oranges because they're a little bit on the sweeter side, and I like the sweet rather than the savory, but the choice can be yours. I washed my fruit like I washed my hands because we're using the zest, which is the outside of the peel. Camera guy, you could probably zoom in. Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I was looking
Zoom
at
in
you.
on this so people can get an idea of what zest is. It's the peeling itself. And this is my handy little zester. It's a little kitchen gadget that you can buy for just a couple bucks at any kitchen store. Okay?
Hold that closer so they can see it.
Which part closer?
The zester.
Okay, the zester. Now that it's dirty, here, see, it's a little zester.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the zester, don't fret. You can just simply, where's the camera? Hello, back over here.
Sorry.
Thank you. If you don't have a zester, you can just take a little paring knife and cut off a little bit of the peeling itself, like so, okay? And then you can just cut this up in as small a pieces as you possibly can, like so, all right? And then you can add that into your mix as well. So if you don't have a zester, that's not going to make or break the recipe, so don't worry, all right? Non ti preoccuparti, don't you worry, everything's going to be okay.
What does that mean?
So now, I'm going to finish mixing this in, and I have one last ingredient to add, because this is the way my grandma Dee's always made it, with a little swig of whiskey. Now, I think it was because she liked to nip herself. God bless her. I'm right there with her. Especially after you work a few times with camera guy, you'll be nipping as well. Add my little bit of brandy. She used whiskey, but I'm using brandy. And I'm going to give that one last swirl. Boom. And that's done. Again, I wipe one more time away from the edges. And then I'm going to add this into my baking pan or my cake pans or pie tins, whatever you want to cook it in. And this is good for 9 by 11 inch pan, or this will make two 9-inch deep dish pies if you wanted to use an already prepared pie tin. Okay? And camera guy.
Oh, sorry.
Excuse me. What are you doing?
You want...
Okay. Well, let me show you the cake that I did make so you can see what that's beautiful. Where's the whole cake?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I was supposed to eat this. I thought that this was for me. Sorry, here you go.
Oh, mamma mia, mamma mia.
Okay.
Coca-Cola Fantasia.
I am so sorry.
As I said, this is what it would have looked like. It's a beautiful piece of cake, all right? Now, you cook this at 350 degrees for exactly 1 hour in this size pan, and it comes out beautiful. You can eat this cold or warm. As you can see, I'm covering the big fat ugly spot. Thank you very much. Now,
My bad.
If you want to eat this warm, you must let this cool a little bit before you cut into it, because if you slice the cake too hot, all of the liquid that holds the substance together will leak out and ooze, and then it kind of deflates and ruins the cake. So me personally, I like to serve this cold. You could serve it with a little bit of fresh fruit or a little splash of
Coffee. Good.
Whatever.
Do we have any cold milk? That's really good.
Okay. All right. So in the meantime, one other thing that I like to serve with this, hey, camera guy, get yourself out now that you've...
I'm full. But you can have the rest.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to make a couple of very quick chocolate dipped strawberries. All right? Now this is another really nice, fun way to take dessert to somebody's house or make a little dessert bar yourself and everybody can make their own. This is parchment paper. All right? You just take the strawberry, dip it into, this was just Nestle's chips or Ghirardelli chips or whatever kind of chips. This is semi-sweet. All right? Camera guy. Haven't you had enough?
Sorry.
All right? And you just dip them right into the chocolate, put them right onto the parchment paper so that they can set. I just brush a little bit aside so the chocolate doesn't leak out all over the side. Now, you can also make some variations of this to make them really extra special pretty. I dip them in a little bit of coconut.
Awesome.
Also, you can dip them in chopped nuts or crushed up granola, or depending on the time of year it is, if you want to do white chocolate and crushed up Oreo cookies, or the Oreo cookies that have the spring colors in them. They're real pretty for Easter. These are just those little Hershey's Bits. No, not Hershey's Bits. What are these called? Heath Bits, Toffee Bits,
Heath
candy.
Crunch Bits, yeah.
You can buy them in the baking section of your grocery.
Toasted almonds.
Chopped up toasted almonds would be
The
great.
bomb.
Pistachios would be fine. You could use bittersweet chocolate. You could also use milk chocolate. The only thing about the milk chocolate is that it takes a little bit longer to set up. Now, if your strawberries are cold, you can see that these strawberries are already starting to set up. But in the meantime, I had already made some just to let you see what they look like. I take them right off of my parchment paper. Over here, camera guy. Over here. Can you get this?
Move that to the center. I'm out of wiggle room here. There we go.
Camera guys, production stopped there. All right, so I put them on a pretty little dish.
Should I take my other plate out of the way there?
And make, you mean the evidence plate?
I'll eat that later.
All right, and you can make these like so. Make a really pretty little assortment. These make a wonderful gift if you wanted to wrap these on a little plate and take them to a friend with a little bow. They're fun to take to a party.
I'm a friend.
The nice thing is that, back up here, camera guy.
Oh, sorry.
Make sure my head's in the shot. Thank you very much. The nice thing about the strawberries are they're not too high in sugar. You get a lot of fruit, so you get the fiber, you get the little couple bites of chocolate and a little bit of candies or the coconut. They're very satisfying. A little goes a long way, so you can indulge without overindulging, if you will. So if you have any questions or comments about what I made today, the petzadolch, that are cottage cheese pie, and or the chocolate dipped strawberries, please send me an email at chefef, you know me, girl chef, chefef, C-H-E-F-I-E-F, chefef@intrafitt.com, chefie, C-H-E-F-I-E-F @intrafitt.com, and I will return the email just as soon as I'm done tap dancing. I did say that I'm on a competition tap team, didn't I? And anyways,
Don't forget to say grace.
and that's all I have to say, except for remind you to give thanks for your food and say grace. We'll see you later.
We love you. Bye-bye.